Hello from the South Dakota State Capitol, the People's House, your house, and I'm honored to be here with you again today. I'm Dale Barcher, Executive Director of the Family Heritage Alliance, and seated to my left is Norman Woods. Norman is a lobbyist with the Family Heritage Alliance Action as well. And this is the 92nd legislative session here in South Dakota, and Norman and I serve as lobbyists with the FHA Action. And we're honored to be here as we tap on the desks of our friends on both sides of the aisle as we promote and we champion good family value bills and or resolutions, and we oppose those that we feel are harmful to the work of the FHA. So there's a number of resolutions and bills that we have been following this legislative session, and so we're just going to just touch on a few of them here today. First of all, I want to tell you about a resolution that we saw passed, and we were grateful. It was Senate Concurrent Resolution 4, which is it was a resolution to, when it comes to the issue of pornography, to state that pornography is, in the state of South Dakota, a public health crisis. And we were grateful because it brought into the resolution the topic of human trafficking as well. And so this was a good resolution, a strong resolution. Only one other state had passed this resolution, the state of Utah. So we became number 2 in the country to state that this is a problem in our state, and we're going to recognize that. And so this resolution, Senate Concurrent Resolution 4, passed overwhelmingly, unanimously in both the House and the Senate, and we're grateful. And we had some other bills as well.
So 3 that I just want to touch on real quickly, all roughly have to do with human trafficking, underage prostitution, things like that. And that's 1118, 1143, and 102. The first one, 1118, basically says that if we're dealing with a minor in one of these cases, they don't have to prove force, fraud, or coercion. If you've got a 15, 16-year-old, chances are we're dealing with human trafficking here. So they don't necessarily need to prove force, fraud, or coercion, because a lot of times the minor might not even realize that that's going on. Another couple tweaks, for example, right now, because of 1143, you now cannot charge someone under 16 with prostitution. For example, if we've got a 15-year-old caught up in that whole net, chances are she's probably not doing it willingly. If consent is at 16, a 15-year-old is not doing this willingly. And then 102 is a human trafficking hotline. Basically, for any woman seeking an abortion, basically the information that she's given in writing has to be a human trafficking hotline, just in case that's what's going on.
Then we had Concurrent Resolution 11. Concurrent Resolution 11 simply opposes physician-assisted suicide in the state of South Dakota. I'm so grateful that South Dakota has a genuine a culture of life mentality and heart and value. And so in South Dakota, there's already on the books, in statute, 4 different laws outlawing, banning physician-assisted suicide. So why do we bring this resolution? It's because there is a group called Compassion and Choices that are seeking to place on the ballot in 2018, in November of 2018, the issue of supporting and approving physician-assisted suicide in our great state. We wanted to bring a resolution that would show the heart, the intent, the mind of our state legislature when it comes to this issue. And I am pleased to tell you that overwhelmingly in the House and the Senate, they have concurred that physician-assisted suicide, well, it's not something we want to see in the great state of South Dakota.
And next, something we want to talk about is something that I'm sure you're all familiar with this year, and that's IM22. So what's going on there, and what are we going to come away from session with? Well, going into session, I'm sure you're all familiar, 1069 was basically the repeal of IM22. Got a lot of press, a lot of heat, a lot of discussion over that issue. The legislature passed 1069, which repealed IM22. So what the voters passed has been repealed, so now what? Well, if you look at the bill list, there was maybe 10 different bills that were introduced to help deal with those issues. They weren't just going to let it drop. And it looks like about 4 or 5 of them are going to at least get through, maybe 6 or so. And one of those that we were really in favor of is 171, which basically establishes a task force. So anything that the legislature doesn't get done this year over the IM22, accountability, campaign finance, lobbyist, different aspects, is going to be studied by the task force to make sure that they didn't miss anything. And also on that same note, real quickly on this donor disclosure type note, you've got 1125. And 1125 seeks to make public record the donor information for the Partners in Education tax credit of last year. You may remember Senate Bill 159, which established the Partners in Education tax credit. 1125 seeks to make that donor information public, and because those are private donations, we were hoping that they would remain private and anonymous, and 1125 died, so those donations are still private.
Finally, we'd like to share with you about Senate Bill 149. Norman and I worked hard, along with some great friends here at the Capitol, in the Concerned Women for America. And we championed through with the help of some great organizations as well, and many of you across the state of South Dakota, this good and right bill. Senate Bill 149 simply states that our faith-based adoption agencies may continue doing what they have been doing for decades in the state of South Dakota, and that's simply placing children in loving families for adoption, as well as in foster families, that they can continue to place them there unhampered, unhindered in any way, shape, or form, unthreatened by the state of South Dakota or a state agency or a state agent. In other words, continue doing what they've been doing. And we're grateful to see SB 149 pass strongly through the Senate and through the House. In fact, folks, 70 of 105 legislators voted for this great bill. And now it's on its way to the governor's desk, and we certainly hope that our Governor, Dennis Dugard, will sign SB 149 into law. So we're so appreciative of the time that we could spend with you here today in sharing with you a little bit about the work of the Family Heritage Alliance Action here at the state capitol. We are here because of your support, your generosity to the work of the FHA Action and the Family Heritage Alliance here in the great state of South Dakota. So here from the Capitol, the People's House, Norman Woods and myself say thank you for joining us.